Hey everybody, welcome and huge aloha. I'm still in Hawaii. I'm Natalie and this is Life After a Cult, the channel where we expose cult nonsense. We laugh at the absurdity and hopefully unbrainwash ourselves in the process. And I have a question for all of you here. Hey moderators, shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Everybody in the live chat too. And if you are on the replay, aloha to you. Jump in those comments. Let me know your questions today and your thoughts on what we're going to talk about, because I'm telling you, here's my question for you. What do Joy Vila, a mic-dropping city councilman, and Scientology's latest land grab have in common? They're all part of today's wild ride that we're going to take through some cult confessions, Clearwater chaos, and even more. So buckle up, you all. It's great to see you. I'm going to jump into our first story here, which is involving Joy Vila, who we've talked about before on the channel. She was a Scientologist for many years. And earlier on, I covered her, like when she's most, I would say one of the things she's most well known for is probably when she wore the Trump dress at the Grammys. She's been to the Grammys a few times. And we talked about her being a Scientologist. Then we talked about how she put out some social media, definitely making it clear she was no longer a Scientologist. I should say, maybe not definitely making it clear, but really looking like it. Because she wasn't so, at the time, she didn't say, I've left Scientology. Exactly. But she said she's a Christian and shared about her faith there. Well, now Joy Vila has come out with a video on her YouTube channel, and she is not just announcing that she has left Scientology. She is spilling the tea, y'all. We're going to get into it. Underground Bunker, Tony Ortega did a story about it. I'm going to link that down below. Joy Vila details her defection from Scientology for the first time. This video she did is amazing. I definitely recommend watching the entire thing. I feel like I even need to go through it again. Not only has she left Scientology, she has written a book, and we're going to talk about that too. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have a link. Hey, Joe Bananas and everybody jumping in. Aloha and welcome. Be sure to hit that like button on your way in so we can get out some notifications. So let's see here. I'm gonna give you kind of the notes about this article, and we'll talk about a few things regarding Joy. So basically, in 2011, she was only 23 years old. She was down on her luck. She was struggling with alcohol and other drugs as well. She walked straight into Hollywood Celebrity Center, which is, as you know, the Scientology Venus flytrap, especially for artists. And they hit her with the classic combo, right? Personality test, a $50 overcoming ups and downs course, which is a course in Scientology to help you see who is suppressing you. And it's one that they will regularly recommend, I noticed, to people who are artists, to say, well, you're struggling because you're connected to someone or someones who are antisocial personalities. That's like the suppressive person light that new people get introduced to, is this overcoming ups and downs life course. The main Scientology course is a potential trouble source, where they're supposed to confront and shatter suppression, but they kind of don't. They see the camera, run away. They flee. Yeah, no, there's no shattering at all, except for maybe the self-esteem of the Scientologists and Steward members who are being forced to run away from cameras and not connect with anybody. So she did that, and she fell for it. I mean, think about it. You're young, you've been through some trauma, you're 23 years old, and someone goes, hey, for this small amount of money, we can help you heal from your trauma, and we can help you launch your career. You know, who wouldn't take that for $50? And that is kind of how they got her recruited into Scientology for so many years. She even joined staff. She signed a Sea Org billion-year contract, and she started the Estates Project Force. Now that is boot camp for Sea Org, and she did not finish it. Thankfully, I think I'm so happy about that, because who knows what would happen. She didn't finish it. She was given some kind of program to do in order to be able to finish it. I don't think she gets into the details of what that was. I would love to. I actually reached out to her and emailed and said, I think what you're doing is brave. I would love to have you on and interview you about your story and about your upcoming book. We're going to talk about her book in a little bit too. So then she basically goes and she becomes a Scientology auditor. She does all this training. She reaches the state of clear, which in Scientology is that moment where you go, oh, I just realized I've been creating my own reactive mind and I'm not going to do it anymore, despite the fact that L. Ron Hubbard's been telling you you have a reactive mind. And that's why you have to pay Scientology all of this money. But, that's probably why they make that realization in Scientology. It's called the cognition, the clear cognition confidential. Because if Scientologists knew that they were paying all that money to get to the point to realize that they're the ones creating their own reactive mind, even though Hubbard was the one who told them that, they would get upset. I think that's why they keep it confidential. Even when you're attesting to that level, that state of clear in Scientology, they don't tell you what you said that got you there. So no one knows the actual clear cognition until you leave Scientology, or if you're trained in delivering what's called the clear certainty rundown. So kind of an interesting point there. She did a lot of Scientology training, though. She became an auditor. Like I said, she went clear. That's huge in Scientology. She married a wealthy Scientologist. He's a photographer, Thorsten von Overgaard, I think was his name. It really sounds like a Bond villain who moonlights as a wedding photographer, but it's not. He sounds like he's a legit, very successful photographer. Must be because during the marriage, they donated $1.5 million to Scientology. And yes, $1.5 million. Joy also talks about in her video how she recruited 100 or more Scientologists and her feelings about that. And I think that's one of the things that really touched me about her video. Is I felt it was heartfelt that as her eyes opened up to the truth about Scientology, she talks about the history of the occult history in Scientology, Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons. So she knows all about that as well. And she is spilling the tea about it. There's so much there. Her video is a couple hours long. I'm going to link it down below, but let's look at a clip. Let's look at a clip from it. And hey, everybody coming in, aloha to you.
I left Scientology. I'm no longer a Scientologist. And I have been sharing about my journey for the last year and a half, my spiritual journey. So I've used terms like witchcraft, Luciferian, Hollywood cult, New Age. The Lord is so good because I asked him, please put the words in my mouth that you want me to say. Please work through me. And I just feel this unreal sense of joy, no pun intended, sharing this with you, because I've been holding it back for a long time. I've been writing my memoir and my book. I also know I will get a lot of hate. I will get attacked. My family will get attacked, because if you don't know, Scientology is a dangerous, abusive, allegedly, cult.
That is huge. Like I said, she's not just leaving Scientology. She didn't just leave Scientology. She's actually sharing her story and writing that book. Hey, Deanna Ross, good to see you. And speaking of that book here, let's see. I don't think I pulled up a link, but I'm going to pull it up. You can pre-order her book on Amazon. I went ahead and pre-ordered it. I do believe it comes out in October. Let's see. I'll pull it up so you can see. I'm assuming you can order it in paperback as well. I just have where'd the book go? Oh, there it is. I just had it pulled up on Kindle, but let me show you this. It looks like it's going to be really good. Let's see here. So you can pre-order it on Amazon. This is what it looks like. Hold on. Click on that. There we go. It's called From Scientology to Christ, the escape they never wanted me to make. And I don't know if you can see, I think you can see the cover. If you look there, it's got her wearing, I think that's one of the outfits she wore to the Grammys. She's holding a Bible. The Dianetics book is attached by chains to the blue Scientology building. There's an outline in the background of what looks like Xenu or other, there's even an outline of, looks like a police officer with Xenu or an alien, maybe that represents either Xenu or the occult piece of Scientology. That seems to be something that when she learned about that, it's like all bets were off. But you can pre-order her book on Amazon. Like I said, I pre-ordered it myself. He's surrounded by Scientology. I think he's hanging out outside there. We're having an amazing time, but balancing like who's going live when, and getting motivated to actually work. It's been a challenge. I did, Nancy. I just said the book in her hand was a Bible. It's a great image of Joy Vila's book there. So pre-order the book. I think it's going to be an amazing read. I cannot wait till October. So I did send her an email. Hey, George, you can just walk by. See what I'm saying? It's nonstop bull bait around here. But so much fun. No, Nancy, in her hand, she's holding the Bible. And then behind her is the Dianetics book, right? Is that what you're saying? Nancy's saying she's holding a Dianetics book, but I'm not sure I'm understanding her. Anyways, point is great. I think it's going to be a fantastic book. Yes, Northern Girl. It was a drive-by Georging. Hey, Kels. Kelsey's back home. We got to figure out how to get that air conditioning on. The other day, it was actually hotter in Minnesota than it was here in Hawaii. And today's actually a nice day. We're going to get out and see some turtles. Does it matter to you? Not to me. We have made it very clear to George that this is not a clothing optional trip, that clothes will be required, especially in the house. All right, where am I at here? Let's see. Okay, that's right. So let's look at this video a little bit more. This just blew my mind so much. She talks about how the Sea Org and Scientology is basically torture, as we know. Let's take a look at that clip. I think this is it here.
I hid a lot from him. And I would have nightmares that my dad would find out and he'd be mad at me. So when you join the Sea Org, you live on their base in Los Angeles, PAC base, the big blue building. It was mentally torture. That's the worst thing. They would tell me I'm not good enough, that I have overts, I have sins. It was always do the next level, always do the next level, always do the next level, always do the next level. You're just exhibiting signs of the next level until.
How much have we talked about this here on my channel and other channels too who cover Scientology? That it's exactly that. It's you just have to do the next step. Once you do the next step, everything's going to be fine. Your problems are going to be handled. And then when you do the next step and it's not fully resolved, again, it's either because you have overts that you now need to get off. Hey. Hey. Guess who I'm talking about?
Oh, you're talking about Joy.
Yeah, you want to jump in?
I was just listening to her video.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
Okay, first of all, she's very smart. She's no dummy.
Can you guys hear Aaron okay?
Oh, yeah, no.
Hold Matt there.
I mean, I know that might sound like, well, why would you think otherwise? Well, because I think she's always presented as otherwise to me. But I'm listening to her video and I'm like, this is a very intelligent person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know that she had done her Scientology auditor training up to class 5. That is not easy.
No. And I wonder if she did that as a part of, she was given a program when she talked about starting the Estates Project Force, but she didn't finish. And they gave her a program to finish. And I wonder, this is speculation, this is something I would love to talk to her about and ask is, was it then even because she would not give up her faith and her relationship with God? It's something she says she never let go of.
Makes perfect sense. She could have been fitness boarded off of the EPF and they considered she was thiety-weedy and other practices because she still believed in God and Jesus.
Exactly.
And that's the other thing I'm actually really stunned by watching. I think I'm about an hour into her video.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours.
I thought Scientology had put her up to the Jesus stuff. That was actually something she was genuinely holding on to the entire time. And Scientology was giving her crap about still believing in God and Jesus.
Exactly. Her Joy Vila, to me, one of the biggest things I think that's going to come out and maybe being brought to the light more is just how hard Scientology works to disrupt an individual's relationship with a higher power, whether it's God, Allah, whatever you want to call it, or even just your own spirituality. how much they will interfere. And if you don't give it up, now you have to pay more money for training. You have to get security checks.
Yeah.
You have to be interrogated, all of the things.
Yeah. I was fascinated with like, it's funny because she was one person that I would have said is out there forwarding Scientology's propaganda that you can be a Christian and a Scientologist.
Yes.
What's funny is that Scientology was sort of reaping that benefit of her being out there doing that, and privately behind the scenes was saying, hey, you can't keep doing the Jesus stuff.
Yeah.
And I would love to talk to her about that as well. And how about the fact that when she was younger, in her 20s, she was institutionalized in a psych hospital, but it did not make her an illegal PC? I thought that was fascinating.
Exactly, because she was very open about that, and she was hospitalized for, I think it was more than a 72-hour hold. I mean, it sounded pretty extensive, and shout out to her for getting help.
Yeah.
But again, she made it to the state of clear. And an illegal PC in Scientology is when you've been under psychiatric care, you cannot do Scientology auditing.
Right.
So I don't get that either, how she made it through the state of clear. I get the auditing part,
Yeah.
which I think you and I even talked about earlier, because that was my suspicion, because you usually don't see a Scientologist trained to the level that she did.
Yeah, that maybe he was having to do that.
Because you're an illegal PC.
Yes, to compensate for having a psych history.
Exactly.
The other thing that I thought was fascinating is in her story, by the time she gets into Scientology, she is not in any way a celebrity. By the time she gets into Scientology, she's not in any way a celebrity.
No.
So then she says, when I became a celebrity, and I go, but when did you become a celebrity? I mean, this sounds like I'm insulting her. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like, but wait a second. If you weren't a professional, career singer when you got into Scientology, how did Scientology decide to start using you as a quote unquote celebrity if you weren't one? There's a story there that I either haven't heard yet. Maybe I'm just not far enough into her video. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Scientology doesn't just pick non-celebrities and be like, we're going to turn you into something. We're going to use you as a poster child, and we're going to turn you in. How did she start getting invites to the Emmys? Oh, I'm sorry, the Grammys.
She didn't get specific about the Grammys, at least not at the part where I'm at in the video, but she did talk about how she recruited. That was one of her regrets that was weighing on her, because she recruited over 100 Scientologists, which is impressive, because I was in Scientology for 35 years. I don't think I recruited one person.
I didn't recruit one. I never recruited one. And so I wanted to ask her about that. Like, are you talking about book selling and body routing, or are you talking about, did you eventually become the FSM of 100 Scientologists? Because you can pick up a Scientologist and be their FSM if you didn't get them into Scientology, right?
Yeah, and that's a field staff member. That's someone not contracted by org staff. You get or who then gets a commission. Because she said I got commissions on those, because going and you get like a 10% commission when a person starts a service.
Yeah. Right. And also I haven't yet found out in the story, why did you end up doing your bridge in England if you live in LA? How did that happen?
I know, because she did.
Have you listened to the whole video already?
No, I've got like about 45 minutes or so left.
Okay. So she hasn't addressed that yet?
She might have. She talked about doing her training in England, but I'm not sure she got specific.
Okay.
I want to go through, and I've got some noted questions, because there's questions that we would ask that I think an audience outside of former Scientologists that might not think about, or might not just go, well, wait, what about this?
Yeah. Well, and you remember she popped up, I lose all sense of time these days, but she popped up doing Dianetics book selling in London. And I remember saying, someone's in lower conditions.
Yes.
And so there's so much to her story. There's so much to her story. She hasn't had an opportunity to explain.
Well, and that's why she's writing an entire book. And the book sounds like it comes out in October. And I am so excited that she's going to spill some tea.
Well, I hope since she has a book to sell, she'll be willing to come on the other channels and talk about her stuff. I did message her on Twitter. She didn't answer me back yet.
I emailed her.
You emailed her?
Yeah.
Where's her email?
You have your choice, Joey. Who are you going to?
Well, you can do both. You can do both.
Oh, both for sure.
And there was another thing there. Oh, what was it? Oh my God. What was it? I think it had to do with some of the Christian stuff. Yeah,
she did talk about the further she got, like that she was constantly, they were always trying to handle her to not. And that was my suspicion. You guys might remember the last time we did a video about her, is I thought maybe that's also why she had to do all the training. Because if you're not letting go of your relationship with God or Jesus or other religions, Scientology's point of view is that you have overt, misunderstood words. If Scientology is not working for you, it's always you per Scientology.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think she got sick of it. She referred to it as being like torture.
Totally.
Yeah.
She says she's having like a literal breakdown, some sort of a psychotic episode, as I think is how she described it.
Yeah.
And she reached out to as many of her fellow Scientologists as possible. And I was like, I can imagine, I can picture it.
Yeah.
I can picture it. And everyone's like, oh God, this is messy, out ethics, unstable, PTS type 3. Oh my God. And the best advice she got was go watch a funny movie. Don't think about it. That's Scientology's technology. They think they have all the answers for mental health. Don't go see a psychiatrist. Don't see a psychologist. Don't see a counselor. Don't get any sort of mental therapy. But at a relatively high level Scientologist reaches out to everyone she knows, lets them know she's having an episode, a breakdown. No one wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole. No. And the only one who does says, go watch a funny movie.
Yeah. And on the heels of Whitney Mills and what happened.
Right.
Like Whitney Mills reached out to Dr. What's his face? Minkoff. And for her, what was happening with her, and she was hallucinating, and the mental part was so heavy, and she was told to get her TRs in.
Put your confront in.
Put your confront in. You're an operating Thetan. And similar. I mean, honestly, I think that Joy could have very well saved her own life by leaving Scientology, but also by talking about it and getting it out there.
Yes. 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 Yeah. It's fascinating. I can't wait to listen to the rest of it. And hopefully we'll have her on our channel soon.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's funny because I guess I sort of thought when I messaged her last week or whatever, I was like, she's out of Scientology, but she's just dropping little breadcrumbs. And maybe she thinks it's too much of a suppressive act to actually talk about these things publicly. And I'm like,
not now.
Well, not anymore.
I think maybe she wanted to maybe give her own story, right? Drop her own. This was today.
Yeah.
She dropped this video today, I believe.
Yeah. Amazing. There was something else there. Oh, okay. In the beginning of her video, she says, don't attack Scientologists. I think she said L. Ron Hubbard and the upper level Sea Org members are basically what's bad and everyone else is good. And my first thought when she said that was, I was like, it's one of those things that's very, very easy to say and much, much harder to explain, because you go, if you're going to say these guys are all good and being duped, but these guys are all the bad guys, then I feel like there's a conversation there of like, okay, so then if that's how you feel, try to explain for me then the path that one travels. At what point do you go from being a good guy to being the bad guy?
Yeah.
And I guess that means anything, it's more of a spectrum than it is black and white. Yeah, you could have Sea Org members who are actually good guys. You could have public Scientologists who are more bad guys than Sea Org members. And that was just something I actually wanted from her perspective to explain, like, what do you mean by that, Joy? Because there are public Scientologists who are just as bad and worse than many Sea Org members.
Yeah.
Even in terms of how they use Scientology for, to hurt people, to control people, to manipulate people, all that kind of stuff.
Some of them are former Sea Org members like Brittany Ruiz, Garrett Ruiz. Brittany Ruiner your life.
Brittany Garrett Ruiz. I'm just excited to finish her video.
Yeah.
And
I also think that her coming out with her story and being what it is and the tie to Christianity might light a fire under the radar Scientologists, especially ones who are exploring other types of spirituality. And feel that there's something wrong with them because they want to explore a different type. Maybe it's Buddhism, maybe it's Christianity, whatever it is, but they don't because they know the trouble they're going to get into in Scientology.
Yeah.
And maybe that can help other people see, look, she left, she maintained her faith. She's now practicing her faith of choice freely. Did you watch the music video too that she put out, that song? It's good. It's about freedom. I'm like, it reminded me, not in terms of how it sounds, but the message of when Lisa Marie Presley put out her album that had undertones of FU Scientology.
Right.
That's completely awesome. Like that.
Since they did fly her around all over the world, she was sort of a VIP at Flag. She was a VIP at these Sea Org bases. She's been in South Africa. I just thought it was awesome for her to be like, yeah, the buildings are empty. There's nobody there. Sea Org members treated horribly. I'd love to hear her stories of what she has observed on Sea Org members being treated a particular way. Because I think most people would have guessed that a lot of that mistreatment would be kept out of the prying eyes of a VIP. And yet she seems to be perfectly aware of it, which I thought was awesome.
Which I think is to your earlier point. She didn't join Scientology as a celebrity. She joined at Celebrity Center when she was very broken, very traumatized, very lost, very vulnerable, which is when a lot of people get into Scientology that way. And from there, and she did talk about how they used her for, you know, building relationships, kind of like when they send Tom Cruise, John Travolta. I mean, they're way big stars, but she's a very good communicator. And I think they saw that and used her as a bit of an ambassador in ways. I did some of that for Scientology before I left, where I actually did media, radio shows and stuff for Scientology. So I can see how that could be. And she would see more than other people would. Like I was being handled on all these enemy lines, as Scientology calls it, about L. Ron Hubbard, if it was said to me, because I was working with media and people could say anything. So I don't doubt that she had a stricter kind of handler and they kept her on a tight rope. Till she decided enough was enough. And apparently that was a few years ago. We're just finding out about it now. She's coming forward.
Fascinating stuff. I know one of the first things I said was Joy Villa really a celebrity? And it's funny because again, it sounds like I'm saying something derogatory, but I'm not. Like I think if someone said, what is Joy Villa famous for? I'd say, well, she's a singer. I go, but what song has she sung? I have no idea. I've never heard one. And so I almost go like, but I'm almost making my counterpoint before I make my point. She did end up by hook or by crook some way getting, you know, quite involved in the previous Trump administration. And maybe it's not a big deal to get an invite to the Grammys every year, but still, how did she? I mean, not anyone just gets an invite to the Grammys.
Where's my Grammy invite?
I know. I mean, I didn't get a Grammy invite. You know, like even the one time when Kanye showed up with his wife to the Grammys and she like took off her jacket and she was like totally naked. They escorted them out, not because of how she was dressed, but because they didn't get an invite. They weren't invited. They just crashed the party and they're like, you got to be out of here.
They just crashed the red carpet.
Yeah, so they didn't send Kanye an invite, but maybe no one's sending Kanye invites these days. But you know, somehow she did worm her way. I don't mean to be too overly negative here. Into the sort of relative inner sanctum of the Republican administration. And I go, how did that happen? I always assumed somehow Scientology did it, but
maybe it's a little bit of both. It could also be her own connections. This is the other thing I think, and my suspicion, and this is what I want to ask her about, just like you, is was it her own communication lines? Because she was married to a very wealthy Scientologist.
But wasn't he just a photographer?
But he is a famous photographer.
He is?
They gave $1.5 million to Scientology.
He got that money from somewhere.
Exactly. So I think he did really well. And you know, when you run, I mean, I don't know, but I have friends who run around in crowds where people have a lot of money. You know, I tend to not get the invites. I don't know why. I feel like I'm charming. Why don't they want me around? I have a big mouth and I say too much. But she then, I think some of it might have been her own, maybe too, because she also, she is a supporter of Trump. She uses her platform. She's not pro-choice. But she's also now aware of the coerced abortions that were happening in the C word. I don't think she was aware of it back then. And I couldn't understand how she could support those values, but support Scientology, knowing what was happening to Sea Org members, married Sea Org members who wanted to keep their child.
Right.
And I was one of those who was, you know, locked in a room and kind of like forced to, you know, end the pregnancy when we didn't want to. So I think a lot of that too, her values conflicted with the more she started to learn about what really happens in Scientology. And it really sounds, once she learned that Aleister Crowley stuff, like she was out, like it's demonic, it's satanic. And honestly, I didn't know about all that. I knew a little bit about
Aleister Crowley stuff?
Yeah, I knew a lot more about it now than I ever did.
Oh, I mean, Hubbard mentions it even in like the study tapes.
That's right. Yeah. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, like he was proud of it. Which, I mean, resonated with me. Like when I was in Scientology, I always sort of, there's something about L. Ron Hubbard just sort of bragging about being associated with anyone and everyone, no matter how good, bad, or you know, one way or the other they are, and that's just the human condition. Yeah. And since we're all Thetans anyway, like who cares about black magic? There's no such thing. Or who cares about the occult? Or who cares about Satanism? Since from a Scientologist perspective, none of that really exists anyway. It's just some sort of a Thetans construct right?
Well,
So I never found
absolutely.
any of that offensive in Scientology.
Yeah.
The idea that Hubbard would have had anything to do with
Mhm.
black magic or the occult, I'd be like, yeah, but all that's fake anyway. Who cares?
I thought when I first heard about it, I thought, well, maybe he hadn't figured out a better way. Like as a newly out Scientologist back in the day, I kind of thought, well, I wonder if it was like he studied it and then was like, no, this isn't the way to go. Because sometimes you have to study different things. It's like making a recipe. I don't even know how to cook, so that's not a good analogy for me. I started saying it, and I'm like,
It's
girl,
the
you don't know what
opposite of
you're
a
talking
recipe.
about. Yeah, no. No. But I think that's all part of it. And then it was honestly, when I became the most aware was probably when I started doing interviews with John Atack. Then I started reading more about it. I think I did a video. No, maybe I didn't do a whole video on it. Maybe I did. But I didn't realize how deep L. Ron Hubbard was into it and how much that played a role in the development of Scientology.
Right.
When I really, really understood that and it sunk in, it really, I tailspinned. I remember the night I was talking to John Atack about some of this. I couldn't even do a video the next day.
Really?
I was so disturbed by when it really hit me how into the occult L. Ron Hubbard was and the role it played in Scientology. I felt so betrayed. Like from day one, this was his goal to not bring about the Antichrist because of an alien invasion. I'm like, what the? It took me, I had to go spend some time in my closet that night, like shut the door, windowless room, and process that.
Wow.
So I can't even imagine what that does to somebody who has such a strong connection and relationship with God prior to getting into Scientology.
All right.
If I was so thrown by it.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're literally working for Satan. I would think would be like the equivalent of how.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. The first time I ever heard somebody sort of make the joke or the observation that Thetan just sounds like Satan with a lisp, I was like, oh God, not this. And now I genuinely freaking wonder if that's what he did.
I know. I know. And isn't it crazy? Like we've been out of Scientology for a long time, but it just goes to show how much, because there's so much to talk about or think about or process, it's almost impossible, I think, to get to the point where you're like, oh, I've processed all there is, because we keep finding out the truth. And then you have somebody else leave Scientology like Joy Vila. And you're like, oh my gosh, she saw what we saw too. And she was a public Scientologist.
Yeah.
And the things she's talking about, we've talked about multiple times.
Yeah. So anyway, cool stuff. Very cool stuff. And so you're doing all this just with your laptop camera?
Yeah, I always just do one computer because I can't figure out another.
Even when you're home?
Yeah.
You're kidding me?
No, I just use this.
Oh wow.
It's the only way I ever knew how to do it, so it's all I learned. Because I still can't figure out my screen.
Wow.
So when I play a video, I mean, you know how it goes then, right? You go in and you do your thingy, and then I just see the video and I have to go back to this screen.
Even when you're home?
Yeah.
This is how you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I only got one screen. I'm very talented, Smith-Levin.
I'm over here acting like I'm handicapped having to do everything from my laptop. I'm like, bear with me, guys. It's going to be really tough for me to do the things I normally do.
Okay, and I heard you saying that, but I didn't want to say anything because I'm like, what a wussy. I've been doing this every day, all day for by the way, I hit 6.1 cumulative views. Yay. I'm like, I'm doing it on one screen, but
Did you say 6.1 views?
6.1 million cumulative views.
Oh, million. Okay.
Yeah. Million. Yeah. Cumulative. So since the beginning, as they count them, but that was cool. What did he say?
What does George say?
George is saying Natalie and her sister are on their home special magical turf. They have shared so many of their island favorite things with us. Incredible experiences for all. Oh, thank you, George.
I can't tell you. I mean, this has been the best two. This has been the best 2 weeks.
You got to tell them about the manta ray
of my life. So I was snorkeling on Mauna Kea Beach. And does
it matter to you? Not to me, says Aaron Teacher. Well, to do the two screens. Yeah, well, I need a monitor. Thank you. Does it matter to you? Not to me. I'm going to put that in the Malasada fund. I'm not strong in the water. I'm not terribly comfortable in the water. I'm not, I'm always getting water in my mask. It's all this kind. I'm not like a great snorkeler. And even this was the first time I was out there. It was the first time I was snorkeling out there. Yes.
And I don't know. I must have been in maybe 10 feet of water.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm looking at, I'm, got so much attention just trying to see the sand and see the rocks and see the fish. And this giant manta ray swims right under me. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 feet away. I mean, I was like, and first I'm like startled.
Yeah.
I've never had something that big that's alive that close to me in the water. And I mean, it was black and white and it was crystal clear. It's like, the sun was out and everything. And I mean, the thing's wingspan was significantly more than 6 feet. And I mean, the thing's tail was, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 feet. Yeah. And all I could think of is Steve Irwin. And then I was like, I'm going to try to swim with this thing for a little bit. Yeah. And so I swam with him for a little bit. I'm assuming it's a him. Swam with it for a little bit. And then it went right up to the surface of the water. And I poked my head out. I was like, is this thing like sticking its head out of the water? And then somehow when I came back down, I'd lost it. And there was no finding it again. But honestly, you pay hundreds of dollars to do that excursion here to go. They'll put like big lights in the water at night and they'll throw in some kind of bait and the rays will come and you can swim with them.
Yeah, they're attracted to the light.
Yeah. And this guy just, I was like, oh my God, that was amazing.
It was crazy. He comes out, we're sitting on the beach and it was just unbelievable. Like I've never seen a manta in the water. Well, maybe once, but not close up like that.
Really?
Yeah, not close up like that.
And then, so to see that, and then to see the erupting Mount Kilauea, and then just, I mean, it's funny, right? Because I live 10 minutes from Clearwater Beach. Yeah. And it might get voted #1 beach in the country. I don't know how that happens. After being here in Hawaii, I'm like, the fix is in. I don't know how they make that happen. But like literally, we are 10 minutes from door to water of one of the nicest beaches in the country. Free parking. I go, you don't even have this in Clearwater. Yeah. How is this a thing here? Anyway, it's just been absolutely incredible. And unfortunately, we fly home tomorrow night.
Yeah. I thought it was amazing about like the volcano erupting. We went the one time to Volcano National Park, and that was amazing because we got to see the steam and the lava tube and learn so much about it. But then on Sunday, we're getting ready to go find some turtles. And Cheryl looks at her phone. She's like, Kilauea is erupting right now. Aaron stops in his tracks, like mid grabbing a towel and like, we got to go.
I remember thinking, I want to go, but I'm not willing to push this point. And then George is like, oh, we're going. Yeah. No, we're going.
Yeah. And then I was like, you guys are going. I'm not going to be in a car for another 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm so glad George said that because we are going.
And they hopped in the car. It is a 2-hour drive. You start out on this side. It's like 85 degrees. You go up the mountain, and part of the drive, it got as cold as 59 degrees. Yeah. Then you go back down, and then you're on the other side. Yeah. And then you go back up to the crater, and again, it gets chilly. Not as chilly as 59, though. Yeah. But you guys, to be able to see it. And the other thing is, sometimes it erupts for minutes, hours, days. You never know. And on the way, it stopped erupting. Yeah. When you guys kept going. But by the time you got there, it was the largest eruption to date in years.
Yeah. And then by the end of that night, it was over. When we were here later that night, in the middle of the night, near morning, the eruption completely stopped. And I think it might still be over.
Yeah, I haven't checked today.
Yeah. So to have the mountains, the ocean, the cold weather, it's not even hot weather. It's actually very tolerable weather. To have beaches where you've got, actual waves, not so much waves. It's just, everything here is amazing. And Hawaii is an expensive place to be, but at Costco, a chicken's still $5 and a pizza's still $10.
Well, we think we know where you're getting your chicken.
Oh yeah. The farmer's market. Chickens at the farmer's market are cheaper than even the chickens at Costco.
Yeah, there's a short I did you might want to watch about Aaron Smith-Levin, about him and where he's getting these chickens. It's in my shorts. Go watch it.
Someone was asking, will you go back? Without question. And I would seriously consider actually living here. I mean, logistically, it's a little difficult. Like, yeah, do all the kids come? But honestly, it's like,
well, eventually kids are on their own too.
True.
And we're right across the street we're in Apuacote, which is a neighborhood on the Kohala coast of the Big Island. And right across the street are multiple tide pools and different beaches. And my favorite spot has been going to the first entrance to the beach where we are. And at the end of the day, you can see, and I've shared videos with you guys where you can see the sunset and the moon come up and the water gets wild, especially when the full moon was out. But our first night out there, you were floating on your floaty out there. And then the next night we go and it's getting dark and Lana's using her flashlight. We saw moray eel. And I'm like, yeah,
that's the last time I wanted to float out there.
After dark.
That's right. It was dark when you guys saw that.
But it was getting dark when you were out there the first time. And I was like, okay, as long as he doesn't go beyond the barrier, he's fine. Yeah. And he went beyond the barrier. And I'm like, well, as long as he doesn't go beyond the second barrier, he should be fine. And he didn't go beyond that one. Because I keep telling him, I'm like, I cannot save you.
Yeah. The one thing I haven't seen yet that you guys have seen is every time you go out this way, you see those big giant sea turtles sunning themselves. And I haven't seen that yet. So,
but we're going to go do that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go do that right away today. Because you've seen the turtle in the water.
Saw the turtle in the water, but I didn't have goggles. So I didn't see him crystal clear. And yeah, I want to see these turtles that are right nearby the house here.
Yeah. It'll blow your mind when you see what we can see. It's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been so relaxing, and beautiful and strangely productive. I think I've got more videos done in the last 2 weeks than I did in the last 2 weeks in Clearwater. So that's been
I've gotten way less done myself, but I'm going to play catch up. And it's been really nice too. It's my favorite thing has been sharing so much of Hawaii with everybody, especially, you and George, who've never been here before. Jenna was never here before. Lana, of course, been here. But Cheryl had been to Hawaii once before, but not this island. So seeing it through everybody's eyes. Yesterday, me, George, Lana, and Cheryl went on this amazing bike tour on e-bikes. So that was helpful. And it was just outstanding. I just was so beautiful. I got to do a short of it. But it was just so gorgeous. And it was raining at times, but in the mountain, it's this more warmer rain. I was like, bring it on. It was blowing. I'm a nut for the wind here in Hawaii. I can't get enough. That's why I don't do anything with my hair when I'm here. The wind just takes care of it.
That's one of the great things here is that there's always a nice wind. And, I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, it's good that you'd come back. Mary James says, save the garden. Hope you all having a perfectly peaceful time. Thank you for that super sticker, Mary James. And we are, and I've got some, you want to chat about Save the Garden?
Sure.
I've got some stuff I wanted to share about that too. Let's see here. You guys may know, I did those. I was going to do your intro, but we can kind of just jump into it actually and talk about it. There was a meeting with Brooks Gibbs and the other Save the Garden crew in Clearwater, and you talked to him on the phone. Do you want to kind of
but which meeting are you talking about?
The one that just happened.
The work session?
Yes, the work session.
Oh, the one where David Albritton said he wasn't going to be voting for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. What have you covered so far on it?
Well, I haven't shown them anything. We were just about to start talking about
okay, good. Yeah. So on the city council work session on Monday, so 2 days ago, this was going to be the 10-minute opportunity that Scientology had, and then a 10-minute opportunity that Brooks Gibbs and his team had to present their proposals for South Garden Avenue.
Yeah.
And David Albritton had told Scientology, Sarah Heller, that he wanted them to present publicly the video that they've been using to promise to represent what Scientology's commitment is to downtown Clearwater. There's this video, honestly, the video is 8 years old, of everything they're going to do, fully renovate downtown Clearwater.
Yeah.
Bring in a movie and entertainment center with Tom Cruise.
Spas,
wellness, reactivate the Pinellas Trail, all this kind of stuff. And Albritton had said, the citizens don't know if they can trust Scientology. Scientology has promised me they're going to make their plans public. If they don't make their plans public, I'll have to assume they can't be trusted and I'll be voting no. So Sarah Heller shows up to do her 10-minute presentation and she intentionally shows the wrong video.
Yeah.
Her video has nothing to do with Scientology's comprehensive downtown redevelopment plan. It has nothing to do with South Garden Avenue.
It was just Cleveland Street.
It was 3 or 4 properties on Cleveland Street. And it's almost like David Albritton knew she was going to show the wrong video.
It did seem that way.
Because he had his whole statement pre-written.
Yeah, exactly.
saying how disappointed he was
Mm-hmm.
and that he was going to be voting no.
And he swings the vote then in favor of not selling to Scientology.
David Miscavige's entire plans for downtown Clearwater hinges on David Albritton's vote. A vote yes goes David Miscavige's way. A vote no goes against David Miscavige.
Yeah. And that's happening. In fact, it's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 o'clock. No, it's 5 o'clock in Clearwater.
Right now?
So the council meeting might be happening soon.
Well, no, tomorrow.
Oh, wait, what is today?
Today's Wednesday.
It's on Thursday.
Yeah.
I have no idea what time it is half the time or what day.
Yeah. And it's truly incredible. And what's amazing is that it's not even that, even though David Albritton is voting no, it's not like he's drawing a line in the sand and saying it's war.
Yeah. No.
He's saying, listen, even the video that you showed, you show 3 or 4 properties that you're currently renovating in downtown Clearwater. You've been renovating these buildings for years. Finish the renovations.
Yeah.
Put some actual businesses in the ground floor of these things that are welcome to everyone, not just Scientologists.
Yeah.
Show us that you really are going to do everything that you're saying that you're doing, instead of it always being something that you're in the middle of.
Yeah, exactly.
You can finish renovating the buildings, put some businesses in there, and then come back and ask us for South Garden Avenue, and we'll have another conversation. That's not war. That's common sense.
Exactly. There's in any other community, if it wasn't Scientology, if it was another developer coming in and wanting to develop and show how it would be beneficial to the community, it would be being done completely differently. There's no bait and switch with the videos.
That's right.
It wasn't a mistake that she showed the wrong video. It was basically Scientology's not wanting, this is my opinion, to show the whole video, because then they're making promises to Clearwater citizens, you know, writing checks they know that their ass cannot cash, even Scientology.
Yeah.
It's not
You know,
gonna
I
get
saw
done.
Michael Menino. Ryan Cotton's been getting most of the heat on the city council for promoting this project, but
Doesn't
even
matter to you, even says, yeah, no vote for Cotton. He will try again. Thank you for the super sticker.
even Michael Menino instantly defended Sarah Heller's video and was like, you know, I understand why you wouldn't want to show the whole video, because if you did show the whole video and then you ever changed anything about it, you'd be criticized for that. And I was like, as opposed to what, Michael Menino? The point of showing the video is to show publicly what you're showing the council members privately to get them on your side. And then Michael Menino's up there making excuses for why, oh, I totally understand. People would be so mean to you in the future. If you, oh my God, we wouldn't want anyone being mean to Scientology if they changed their plans. It's like, yeah, but these are the plans they're using to convince you to get on their side.
Exactly.
And now you're making excuses why the public shouldn't be able to see those. It's madness. What has gotten into you, Michael Menino? What has gotten into you?
Yeah, like Ryan Cotton, we kind of understand because, you know, he's got Daddy Dave Miscavige.
Daddy.
Yeah, but what is, you know, I was shocked, but very pleased that he changed his mind about that. And again, it's tomorrow, so there's still time. It's not done until it's done.
I know.
I feel like that. Like
You're right.
In real estate, it's
you're
not
right.
done until closing.
How pissed off am I that we're going to be on a damn airplane when that meeting is?
Well,
occurring?
what time is the meeting?
Well,
I don't think we're going
Thursday, 6 p.m. We land. Oh,
No.
you have a different flight.
to. No. It'll be.
I
the
land like
time's different.
7:30. No. I land in Tampa like 7:30 Tampa time.
On Friday.
Yeah.
The
Oh.
meeting's on Thursday.
Oh, you're right.
We are like 6-7
We're still going to
hours.
be here.
Yes. that's
Oh
what
my
I'm
God.
saying.
Oh
We're
my
gonna
God.
Watch it live
Oh my God.
on YouTube.
Maybe I will live stream the stream.
Yeah, we should live stream it. You should live stream it.
You can both do it.
Yes, we'll co-host.
We'll both do
We're
it.
going to co-host.
We can both do it
the
on our
meeting.
channels.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so glad. I was so bummed out, but
Yeah, no, by the time, and we can, yeah, because we don't have to go to the airport until later in the day.
Mhm.
The meeting will be long over.
you're right. So the meeting will start at 6. That'll be literally noon our time.
Yeah, noon.
The meeting never, it's impossible almost for it to last for more than 3 hours. Thereabouts. Perfect.
Yeah, we can.
Perfect.
watch
We are going to live stream the
it.
stream.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. Yes.
So that'll be Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. So they also shared, like, what I'm trying to think here. Let me look at what I clipped here. Oh, Ryan Cotton just being questioning the validity of the Save the Park. That is it actually, is the history correct about African Americans in Clearwater? And my takeaway was Ryan Cotton, one of the council members, was trying to make it sound like it's not. And then that Menino guy, the other councilman, was saying like, well, we can't rewrite history. Like, who's rewriting history? You got Barbara Story Love herself, who heads up an organization that works for these kinds of things, right there saying this is what we want. And my takeaway is they were trying to make it like you're only doing this to stop Scientology. Well, that's a bonus, in my opinion. For me, it's a bonus.
That's right.
For you, it's a bonus.
Well, that's right. And it's also like, hold on. It's not stopping Scientology.
Because they can still build.
It's stopping Scientology from closing a public road and keeping it for their own.
Exactly.
It's like one project keeps it for the people, one project keeps it only for Scientology. And yet, and yet all Ryan, was it Ryan or Michael that kept talking about, your wife emailed me and first she only cared about stopping Scientology, and then she started emailing me. Like, that was Ryan who was saying,
Ryan.
Right? Yeah. And for Ryan the way he laid in to Brooks, implying that Brooks was using the Black community and Ryan wanted to make sure he wasn't used. I was like, ew, you are so gross.
Yeah, you're so far off.
There's some story that we don't know yet to explain why Ryan Cotton is so firmly in the corner of Scientology. It's not just a matter of, I think this could be good for Clearwater. It's a matter of he is so firmly, it's like he's acting like a paid lobbyist.
Yes. Very
completely
much so.
Acting like a paid lobbyist.
Very much so. But the way that he's even countering some of the suggestions, the fact that he brought up questioning, like, are you rewriting history? Is this really the history? It's so gaslighting. And to me, that felt like Scientology. This is my opinion and speculation. I feel like Scientology told him what to say to a degree. Because the way he did it, that felt very like a Scientology OSA response to me. And we don't know that for sure. We're just speculating.
So realize, I'm just saying, not to get partisanly political, but there are certain factual realities. Ryan Cotton is a local Republican. The deputy chairman of the Pinellas Republican Party is Brian Ongst Jr., who is on Scientology's payroll. Joe Burdett is an influential Republican lobbyist in the local community. He is on Scientology's payroll. Joe Burdett is the best friend of former Clearwater Mayor Frank Hibbard, and Brian Ongst Jr.'s father is Brian Ongst Sr., who literally was the mayor of Clearwater just before Bruce Rector. So you have the highly influential people in the county, the state, county, the city, county, and state Republican Party are on Scientology's payroll. That means something. So when you have Trish Duggan, wealthiest Scientologist, along with her ex-husband, Bob Duggan, donating millions and millions and millions of dollars to the Republican Party and related PACs. And then you see all of that Republican PAC money going into Ryan Cotton's campaign for city council, like at this relatively low-level, unimportant thing. And then you see Ryan Cotton acting like a paid Scientology lobbyist. I am sorry. It is not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. I don't care what you think about the parties. This is the influence of money on politics. This is why David Miscavige doesn't need Scientologists on the city council. This is why he doesn't want Scientologists on the city council. Why give the press an opportunity to write about Scientology every day just because there's a Scientologist on the city council when you can forward your agenda by using your money to buy these lobbyists who use their influence on the local elected leaders? And that is how Scientology does its stuff.
Yeah, Ryan Cotton is very dedicated, it seems, to sell this to Scientology and have that happen. And because they don't need the street to build the building, then interesting point too to me in the meeting, and you talked about this in your video, is when the Scientology representative was like, no, if we don't have the street, we can't build L. Ron Hubbard Hall. The plans cannot be changed. It's like, I don't know. Do you want an eraser? I feel like they can. You just go in, call me crazy. Did a little bit of development work. We change plans all the time.
I love how she said it would be a safety issue, but then said nobody uses the street.
It'd be a safety issue for her because she's going to get her ass whooped probably for not doing her job, which is not fair. And I want to say right now, Office of Special Affairs, whoever may be watching from Scientology, we're watching that girl. If she disappears and anything happens to her, we're going to want to know. People will notice. So don't touch that girl. What's her name? Sarah
Heller.
Sarah Heller.
By the way,
Leave her alone.
Scientology, she's about 40-ish years old, max. Jenna knew her in Clearwater. And Jenna's what, 41? So she's like, we're about the same age. She's been in OSA for like 30 years. She's like a child science. She was a former child Scientology Sea Org slave. She's been there her whole freaking life.
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting though that as a Sea Org member, instead of showing up in like something very professional, I understand why they wouldn't show up. I understand why they wouldn't show up in Sea Org uniform. But instead of like something very professional, she shows up just looking like,
well, she had a dress.
She just got done watching the kids or something. I mean, okay.
It was a jacket. It was a dress and a jacket. It's not colors I would have picked or liked, but if we're going to break apart the fashion, let's do it.
Okay, fine. Objection withdrawn.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be so much worse. I was like, wow, she put on a jacket. Like, did they dress her? Like, what? But to go out there, and now that makes sense that you say that, because I'm like, how do you go out there and just so confidently lie and like, no, we can't build it without it? Like, you can tell she was drilled. This is what you say. This is what you stick to. Because she kept kind of like going back to that same point of, we can't do this without the street. But then when asked, oh, does this mean you will not build L. Ron Hubbard Hall if you don't get the street? Then suddenly she was like, we do
need the street. We do need the street.
Yeah, we need the street.
And also, let's say it continues to be a public street, which it will. Let's say L. Ron Hubbard Hall gets built, which at this point, I'm not sure if it does. Whenever they have a major international event, they can just pull a permit to close the damn street.
Yeah, easy.
And no one walks. Like, when people are going to be walking to that hall, they're not going to be walking across the street that they're trying to close. They would walk across the other street from the north to the south. I'm sure people don't know what I'm talking about, but
I have no idea.
The street that they're talking about, it's a driving street. There's nothing on the other side to walk from. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's not a walk. There's nowhere to walk from.
Yeah. It's an empty lot.
You don't walk across that street.
Yeah.
You drive through that street. You walk across from the other north side street because that's where everyone is. So everything they're saying is just a lie. The council members can see it. And that's why, even though it's so obvious, all the council members, you still have Ryan Kahn, you still have Michael Menino being like, this is what's best. Daddy Miscavige gets what he wants. Nobody puts daddy in a corner. And we'll see, guys. Menino, Kahn, whatever is going on behind the scenes there, someone eventually is going to find out what it is. And I don't know how you guys stand when it comes for re-election, but I wouldn't be betting on you two, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So like you said, we will live stream it tomorrow because we'll still be here, but the time difference works in our favor.
Yeah.
Right now we have a date with some turtles.
Yep. I got to go see a man about a wallaby.
That's right. We're all going to get our stuff together and go see some turtles, and we'll talk more about Save the Garden. And remember, you can go to savethegarden.org to support that project. You can donate, you can sign. I think you can still sign the petition. I'm not sure, but you can see where their events are. Go ahead and check that out. If you want to see the whole meeting, I'm linking it down below in the description of this video, the work session for the city of Clearwater. So you can go ahead and watch it yourselves and see what happened and see all the things that we're talking about. Ren, again, I agree. Wisebeard Man needs to run again. And yes, Mama Opal, just go to savethegarden.org to find out. And we'll see. Both Aaron and I have reached out to Joy Villa. Would love to talk to her. Let's see if we can do that as well. But that's what I have for you now. Thank you guys for being here. Hit that like for me. Tell me what you think in the comments. Even if you're on the replay, what are your thoughts on both Joy Villa and what's happening, and also with Save the Garden in Clearwater? It's going to be a very exciting next couple days. But for now, I'm going to go see some turtles. I hope you all get out and have an amazing cult-free day.